Hello, my lonely little sidewalk dancers. This is Movies, Music, and Moods. I'm Noey, and this is a podcast journal for me to talk about what I think is magic and mystifying and memeable about the music I listen to and the movies I watch. So let's talk. For this episode, I have chosen Time by ELO, or Electric Light Orchestra, heard of them, and the movie Three Men and a Baby. As is most usual for this podcast, the movie and the album have nothing to do with each other. In fact, I think it would be fun to try to draw a connection. Sometimes I do that. Also, I didn't really mean to take quite so much time off. It just happened that way. I've just had stuff going on, but hey, we're back to it, and that's all that matters. Okay, so Time. I love ELO. I always have, at least since, I guess, my adolescence. But Time isn't necessarily my most listened to album of theirs. That would probably be On the Third Day. I was pretty obsessed with that album back in college. And I also love Secret Messages, which came out directly after Time. So I did not realize that Time was a concept album. I listened to it a bunch before I even decided to make note of the songs and, categorize them. I also hadn't put together in my head that so many of those hits that I knew separately were all from that one album. So once I put them together, yes, this album is about a man from 1981 who, in a twilight state, gets taken forward in time to 2095. You heard that right, folks, 2095. Now, I will most likely not make it to 2095. That's not like oh my gosh, Noey, what are you trying to tell us? The odds, just human-wise, probably not in my favor for 2095. So to me, yeah, it's still some, of course, mysterious and far-off distant future. Now, we can't talk about this album without talking about our man, Jeff Lynne. I love Jeff Lynne. Recently, I've been reading more articles with him talking about his own music and how he created it. And I love his attitude. I don't know if it's because he kind of simplifies it, because it's just too complex for him to explain what he's maybe intuitively doing, like in the studio or as an artist. But the way that he describes his process is so simple. Sometimes it seems like he just did it, he just said Bruce, and now everyone thinks he's saying Bruce, and he just needed to fill the time. And you know me, I love lyrics. I love trying to figure out the hidden meaning in the lyrics, or at least like the overall theme. And if you're a fan of, let's say, Twilight on this album, you're thinking of the line, "It's either real or it's a dream. There's nothing that is in between." What does that mean? Well, Jeff Lynne doesn't know either. And I like that the Wikipedia article calls that out specifically, because I think anyone who's familiar with that song has had that line stuck in their head for a million years. But this is what he has to say when asked whether the man in the album's experiences were real or if he was dreaming. This is what I'd like to know, because it's baffled me since I wrote it. And if he has actually gone to the future, or if he's just thinking about it, it could be real or it could be a dream. I'm not sure. I'd rather not say, because I don't know either. I'm supposed to, but I don't. And if that is not the best way to respond to someone trying to analyze your song, then I don't know what is. Personnel for Time from 1981. We have Jeff Lynne, lead and backing vocals, electric and acoustic guitars, piano, synthesizers, vocoder, production. Bev Bevan on drums and percussion. Richard Tandy on acoustic and electric pianos, synthesizers, vocoder, guitars. Kelly Grauket on bass and backing vocals. And then we have additional personnel listed here. Bill Bottrell, engineer. Mac, engineer, who's had a really cool career, has worked with Queen and Sparks. And Rainier Peich. And like with a lot of other ELO albums, you'll notice some motifs pop up. Space, time, the weather, the sky. We've got some ballads here. We've got some heartbreak. Jeff Lynne loves Roy Orbison and was obviously friends and collaborators with Roy Orbison. So he's gonna write some ballads. He's gonna write some sad songs. And related to space, I'm sure you've seen it. The ELO logo is this really cool retro-futurist jukebox that is also a spaceship. And I'm just gonna let everyone know the album was not critically liked. And I think that makes it more fun. I don't think of critics as really liking concept albums. I like concept albums, but I guess I can have some fun. I do think it's probably rare for a concept album to be done in a way that dazzles or maybe placates critics. I'm saying critics. I mean, I'm a critic. Listen to me. But I'm sure concept albums are just often seen as being too heavy-handed and too obvious, like trying to tell the story. So I get it, but this is coming from someone who absolutely loves the King's Preservation Act too. I'll give you a minute to let that soak in. I've said that before, though. I wonder if Ray and Dave just wish they could erase that from their career. Well, I wish that I could erase the image of the album cover to Schoolboys in Disgrace from my memory. So I guess we're even. Okay, I've gone on too long. Let's get to it. What's magic? The prologue is magic. I love the prologue. I love the robot voice, which I think I can refer to as vocoder now, but it's starting the plot. I think I must have listened to this before I understood its place as part of a concept album, because I've heard those lyrics so many times. The ever esoteric, you feel so glad to be unable to go beyond. I don't know, but I like it. I hate that little cackle, though. I've heard this song so many times that I know when that little cackle's gonna happen. If you listen to it, you'll hear it's like, hee 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 hee. I think it's perfect without the little cackle. Someone let Jeff Lynne know that. Next up, magic. Twilight. I've already said Twilight like a billion times, but it's an absolute jam. Hey, maybe the rhymes are a little on the nose, but it's really continuing the sort of orchestral rock pop sound with really gorgeous harmonies, just shimmering in and out. As I mentioned previously, this is when the man is transported to the year 2095. He says, I only meant to stay a while. So he got stuck in his dreams? We're not gonna know. Jeff Lynne's not gonna tell us. We're stuck out here, just like the man. We're lost as hell, trying to figure this shit out. But I love the plucky synth. Who doesn't? Who doesn't love this song? And then we have that beautiful soft refrain at the end, building into the next song, which is absolutely insane. Yours truly 2095. But I'm not ready to talk about Yours Truly 2095 yet, because I want to talk about the next magic track. And this is just how I organize this, and we're all just going to have to deal with it. Another heart breaks. Another heart breaks. This song is such a preview for Secret Messages. Again, love the synth. I love that it's just sadly moving the song forward. It sounds forlorn, like it's crying. The counting? Do you guys hear the counting? Oh my gosh. It's vaporwave. It's moody. It's dark. Don't listen though when you're tired, unless you're about to take a nap. P.S. I like the echoing drums. Next, Rain is Falling. I know this one's a big hit. This one is magic for a reason. It's beautiful. It paints a picture. It might be too sweet, but it's not quite there. What's great about this song is that it mentions a time transporter. Usually you get a song like this, you don't get to hear about a time transporter. That's just a fun bonus to this being a concept album about a man being transported to 2095. And it mentions it so innocently in what is otherwise, a bittersweet tune about being sad during a thunderstorm. Next magic track, Here's the News. This one has those little spoken word pieces layered in throughout of news reports. This song has like a synth orchestra with this like tinkling harpsichord. Some of the things mentioned in the news reports, rocket lag, that's like a problem people get, like jet lag. Something about satellite 2, look very carefully, it may be you. That's what I'm trying to say. This is very fun. Wikipedia says this is in strophic form, which is is the simplest song structures. And it works. I actually watched the music video to this one. I didn't know there was a music video to it. Jeff Lynne looking cool as hell, by the way. He's usually behind a guitar. It's kind of weird to see him just standing there in this like fake newsroom. And all of the comments were about this like horrible thing that happened along to this song a year ago, and now I'm going to have to talk to my therapist about it. I was a little bit annoyed by the video because they were showing all these old news clips like of Marilyn Monroe. Like if this is 2095, what is the relevancy there? I guess they just needed to show something. Obviously, they don't have clips from 2095 or the budget to make some. But 1981, honestly, is one of my favorite eras for women's fashion and hair and makeup. So this video is a real treat, if you agree with me there. The next magic track, 21st Century Man. At like 1 minute, the chorus, it's almost like it comes into focus, and it is gorgeous. This song is so slow and steady. It's sweet. There's a really beautiful guitar solo that is so emotional and gentle. Like, is this the man planning to go back, or is he just accepting here that he doesn't fit in? Of course, I'd ask him to consider being comforted by the fact that he does drive the very latest hover car. And there is another very soft choral piece at the very end of this. Beautiful. I like it. And the last magic track is Epilogue. This is such a bit of rock drama here. The whispery spoken word part at the opening. You know, you're thinking, what happens to him? Like I said, we don't know. Jeff doesn't know. Don't worry about it. So what did I find mystifying? Ticket to the Moon. I'm putting this in mystifying because it is very schmaltzy, despite having listened to it about 1 million times. I've heard the song 1 million times, but I actually zoned out when I was writing my notes because I find it that boring. I don't always find it extremely boring. I think even the most boring ELO song is more entertaining than most music, but still mystifying. And there's always got to be one song that I really hate. There's 2 songs that I just am not a fan of on this album, and the first one is The Way Life's Meant to Be. Both of these are very 50s inspired songs. I'm not a 50s hater. I'm not a doo-wop hater by any means. I'm telling you, but the strumming, the maracas, I hear at one point, The Way Life's Meant to Be just doesn't work for me, personally. It has a lot of magic ELO elements, and it tells you more about why he doesn't like the future. Because it's like he gets sent to his city in the future. He's saying, it's plastic, the ivory towers, and it's plastic flowers. He wishes he was just back in 1981. Good old 1981. And I'm bearing the lead here, but back in 1981 was the woman that he loves. So there is a lot emotionally at stake here. I just think that it's 1.5 minutes too long, and I'll tap my toe, but against my will. And he thought that we didn't hear that at 3:53, he says, I wonder. Listen at 3:53. He says it. He says, yeah, I can't hit this. He goes, yes, I wonder. I swear it. I swear it. I swear. And now it just makes me laugh. Okay. The next song that I actually hate more than The Way Life's Meant to Be, I don't hate it, but I do hate this song. The Lights Go Down. It's catchier, but it's too formulaic. It's formulaic in a way that even I notice, which is how you know it's formulaic. But of course, you know, Jeff Lynne's vocals are beautiful. It's arranged beautifully. The musicians are great. I just can't stand it. Memeable. Yours Truly 2095. This song is the crunchiest, catchiest, most addicting song on the album for me. It's like eating a handful of freeze-dried Jolly Ranchers for my brain. That vocoder voice saying 2095, oh my God. He's trying to get the attention of his love back in 81. And the lyrics are really funny. The lyrics for this one crack me up because it's like Jeff Lynne went full Tumblr user writing about their original character. So he's talking about this like female android that he has obtained who exists, And he's saying, well, she's in some way a replacement of you. And she's impressive, but she has some flaws. Like, she's not a real woman. She is as cold as ice when he gets near. Anyway, in verse 4, he says, she is the latest in technology, almost mythology, but she has a heart of stone. She has an IQ of 1001, and she has a jumpsuit on, and she's also a telephone. Like, talk about an overpowered OC. So somehow the lyrics crack me up, and I love them. The chorus singing, "Is that what you want? Is it what you really want?" Oh my gosh. I love it. Obsessed. Also, the Wikipedia introduced me to a new term I wish I'd never heard. A gynoid. I don't like that. I'm just glad that he's leaving her alone. Bare minimum. Because she's not into it. Also, can he not find a human woman? I guess that's part of the problem with 2095. I'm not trying to say, oh, well, can't you just replace the love of your life? Just go out and find someone. But he's the one who traveled to 2095 in his dreams. Take some responsibility here. Okay, let's pass out some awards. The song most likely to get stuck in your head, Hold On Tight to Your Dream. Remember the first time you heard that song? I bet you never forgot it. I bet it's been stuck in your head ever since. That's what this song does. How many commercials has this been in? It's catchy. It's classic. It does lack some mystery. It doesn't have a sinister nature. I would prefer music to have a sinister nature, like my favorites. But it's a great track, in my opinion. It's a little silly. And obviously, this one is very 50s inspired, but I like it. I guess the music video cost £40,000 at the time, which was the most expensive video ever made at that point. I have not watched it. I will watch it now. This song is right before the epilogue, and so I don't know that we know if he made it back to 1981. He's telling us to hold on tight. It's called Hold On Tight. I just call it Hold On Tight to Your Dream. He's telling us, hold on tight to your dream. I swear it's going to happen. But this dude could still be in 2095. I guess I'll still hold on tight. Shout out to the inexplicably French chorus in the song. I like it. I'll never hear accroche-toi à ton rêve the same ever again. So the next award is for one of my favorite songs on the album, but it is a little awkward now since I read that thing in that YouTube video that freaked me out. But it was supposed to be the song you'll play while you're driving at night to feel cool to award. And I give that award to From the End of the World. Jeff's vocals here are plaintive and desperate. They almost sound exasperated to me, and I think it's really powerful. I love the bridge. I love that 2095 is framed to him as kind of being the end of the world, because as far as he knows, that's it for him. That's the end of his world. He doesn't know if he'll make it back. And I love when he says, lonely little sidewalk dancer. Our younger cat sometimes likes to take a little trip around the toilet. She just walks around it. I hate it so much. I think it's gross. And my husband calls her a toilet dancer. So I changed the lyrics to lonely little toilet dancer. Story time. But I really like From the End of the World. And that is actually the last track I needed to talk about for time. So let's move on to the movie. And this time around, we have Three Men and a Baby. A classic, right? I'm sure we've all heard of it. It's from 1987. And it was directed by Leonard Nimoy. I had not seen this movie. It just existed in my brain the way some pop culture just does. So our cast for Three Men and a Baby. The three men are Tom Selleck, Steve Guttenberg, Ted Danson. We have Michelle and Lisa Blair as Mary, known as the baby, a baby. Nancy Travis as Sylvia, doing an English accent, by the way. We also have Margaret Cullen as Rebecca, Paul Guilfoyle as Vince, one of the criminals, Philip Bosco as the detective, who's always delightful. I think he was in Working Girl. And Cynthia Harris as Mrs. Hathaway. And a lot of other people. Oh, that was Dave Foley, working at the grocery store. I called him Chill Chuck because I've been obsessed with Dungeon Meshi. And there are about 1 million other people in this movie because at the beginning of the movie, They're having a birthday party for Tom Selleck's character, and they invited every single person they have ever met. They're all in that gigantic penthouse apartment. I'm getting ahead of myself. So we had some predictions when we first saw the movie. We thought it was going to be a find a baby plot, a la Baby Boom, from the same year, by the way, and I'm going to talk about Baby Boom a little bit later. I thought it would be a Mamma Mia, like they all somehow slept with the same woman and they don't know whose baby it is. So those were our predictions. I also thought overall that the stakes would just kind of be like keeping the baby alive and bonding with the baby, right? Learning something about themselves and about their priorities through caring for the child. So what did I think was magic? I thought it was pretty cool that Steve Guttenberg's character was like, I guess he does a comic strip with that racist tiger character, but also he's clearly a commercial illustrator. And that had to have been the last time I feel like commercial illustrators got any goddamn respect around here. But I did think that was cool, and that the movie started with him painting that mural in their lobby area. I'm not so sure about the likenesses, but I'm difficult. I'm a difficult person. I think magic, Tom Selleck's mustache and dimples. Magic, Ted Danson just has star power. I love watching him on the screen. I do. I love his delivery. I like watching him in movies. I liked how much fun they had with the design of the apartment, even though it was crazy to see more and more areas that you hadn't seen before. And I love that pastels could still be for men then. That blue paint in part of the apartment, that soft blue paint is really beautiful. I like that my closed captioning covered the poop and the diaper in that first scene. I really liked Margaret Collins' role as Rebecca. I thought it was great that she had no interest in helping him with the baby. She's like, I don't have a kid. I'm not interested. And you are not going to ask me just because I'm a woman. And I really liked that Tom Selleck's character was that he took so much responsibility right away. I do wish someone had just picked the baby up. It was frustrating to watch Steve Guttenberg take so long to pick the child up. It's hard for me to think that neither of those men initially had a nurturing instinct. I don't know. I think that's hard for me to believe. Or that neither of them had maybe taken care of a younger sibling. Am I just getting mad at the plot again? Maybe. But obviously I liked seeing Tom Selleck very strongly step into a fatherly role. He was mostly responsible, except for the time when he and Steve Guttenberg handed the baby to two strange men. That was a lapse of judgment, I feel. However, I do like that his character was the more responsible one until Ted Danson came in and just had like a natural ability to care for her, which I thought was so sweet. He is her father, so that's helpful. I thought the drug bust scene at the construction site with the elevators, I just kept thinking the whole time that would have been a perfect FMV puzzle game. That's not really a magic observation. I just wanted to say that out loud. And the end, when there is a tiny pink safety hat for the baby, which I don't think we even got to see her wear. Gut-wrenching and so cute and such an adorable detail. I thought the concept overall was fun. The title is fun to say. You hear the title and it kind of makes you chuckle, I guess. I'm trying to think back to a time when I had never heard of three men and a baby. I don't know. It's like, I think if you're an American, you've just always heard of three men and a baby. So let's move on to what I thought was mystifying. The drug subplot. Why? Was her going back to her mom and then missing her not enough? There needed to be the heroin thing? Why? Was it to appeal to the men who were going to see the movie? Because clearly the movie was a marketing scheme for women, in my opinion. Look at the cast. Look at the main cast. You put Tom Selleck in something and you know you're going to get the women. There were like two main plots, and the drug thing, to me, just stuck out like a sore thumb. I think that was the most mystifying part of the movie altogether. Sure, it created some funny scenes, but it felt like they had taken that from the script to a different movie because they didn't have enough stuff to write about the baby. Also, not a big fan of Miami Sound Machine. I wrote that I thought it sucked. movies like this always make me wonder if men actually talk to each other in the way that they do in the movie, but it's fictional. That's fine. Personally didn't buy the scene where the woman was impressed by him drawing the comic strip character. I'm not buying that. I'm not. And I was going to say that I thought Full House took a lot from Three Men and a Baby, but Full House also started the exact same year. Like, at the end, when the men are all singing to Mary, that reminded me, I felt like I'd seen that exact same scene in Full House when I was a kid. I also want to just say, Mary. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. I didn't get why the baby's name was Mary in the US, because at the time, people weren't really naming their kids names like that, but that might have been a popular name in England at the time. I might be the first person to analyze this movie since they wrote it. I thought it was funny during the party scene at the beginning. I'm skipping around a lot. Okay. I thought it was funny to make note that at the party scene at the beginning, there was, quote, enough Aquanet in that room to ignite every wall. I also like looking at the late 80s baby stuff, because I was a baby in the late 80s. So, of course, I'm going to be fascinated by little things they were using, like the cotton. The cotton. What's the cotton for? That absolutely was a giraffe. The guy was like, that's a dinosaur. Open a book. I was horrified to see what the criminals, I don't know what to call those guys, what they had done to Tom Selleck's videotapes, like all his sports tapes. But then it was an excuse to say, like, yeah, I saw it, but I'm just glad the baby's okay. Again, bare minimum, well, the baby's okay. I'd still be upset about my tapes, though. And really, why was so little of the movie about the guys with the baby? After they solve the drug bust, they show all these really adorable scenes of them doing activities with the baby. It was adorable. That's what I wanted. That's what I thought the movie was going to be. And then, in the final mystifying segment here, we have Sylvia. Nancy Travis shows up after she abandoned her baby and is like, oh, Mary, I think I'll take her back. Thank you so much for watching her. I've been so overwhelmed. I mean, worst case scenario, she could easily be in trouble with the law, right? And clearly need mental health support. And I mean, the whole thing is like a giant ad for affordable / free childcare. And really, she left her baby with 3 men. I don't know. They could have been like sex criminals. They weren't. But this woman needs help. Like, I hope after she moved in with them and they had their, like, 4-person baby stroller, that she got the help she needed. And an acting job, I guess. Memeable? Here's some memeable quotes from me. You do realize she did a doodle. I'll give you $1,000 if you do it. Change the baby's diaper. Ted Danson with gray chest hair telling his mother that he can't take care of a baby. I thought that was funny. I loved that. I thought Paul Guilfoyle and Earl Hindman were great, but Paul Guilfoyle as Vince, as one of the drug guys, saying, these guys are wrecking my day. The crooks were really funny. I like them. So that's what I thought was memeable. Overall, kind of felt a bit like a waste of the cast, with the exception of Tom Selleck. I felt it was a waste of Ted Danson a little bit. And Steve Guttenberg, for me, was barely a character. It doesn't help that he just doesn't have presence in other things that I watch, recent or in the past. I don't know that I've ever seen another Steve Guttenberg movie. I have no idea. But he really didn't get much time with the baby. And so for me as a viewer, I didn't bond with him either. What I'm saying is that when I watched the movie, I imagined that I was the baby. No. But I think as a viewer, you're looking at him like, is that guy gonna do anything? Like, can he put his Copic markers down for a minute and, like, be charming with the baby? So, yeah, could have used more baby in 3 Men and a Baby. I guess it was a little 2 men heavy. It was a little drug bust heavy for me. The heroin subplot was bizarre at best. But plots, this movie's got them. So many plots. May I offer you an alternate gift, also from 1987, and that is the movie Baby Boom with Diane Keaton. That is a delightfully charming movie. I could watch it right now. It's more intimate, it's more interesting, and it doesn't have too many plots. So that's it for 3 Men and a Baby. Moods. How am I feeling? I feel rested and energized. I know that's not one word. That's how I feel. I didn't get probably enough sleep last night, but I just had some time off and it felt really great. It doesn't help that the weather has been downright beautiful lately. I just love it. I love seeing buds on the trees. I love seeing the leaves grow in again. It's like a friend who comes back every year. And I'm going to ask you a question this week. My question for you this episode is, what's your favorite movie about a baby? Or what's your favorite movie that heavily features a baby? There are quite a few of them. Amazon Prime wanted to tell me about all of them after I watched 3 Men and a Baby. So tell me. And I want to know what you're listening to. I want to know what you're watching and how you're feeling. Let me know. Check me out on Instagram. I'm at Movies, Music, and Moods. Leave a comment. Send me a message. And if you can, share the podcast. Share it with someone who you think will like it. Share it with someone you hate, who you think will hate it, to get them back. Do it. So that is Movies, Music, and Moods. I'm Noey, and we'll talk soon.